Welcome to the Eden Gathering podcast. It is so good to have you with us once again, wherever you're listening. Thanks for being part of all this. Like, loads of people listen to this podcast. I'm joined by some regulars today. Steffan's here.
Eyo. Alex
is on the microphone instead of behind the microphone, although are you still technically behind the microphone?
I'm a bit of both.
But
I'm on the podcast.
Alex hosted one a couple of weeks ago, didn't you?
I did.
How did you find that?
It was fine. My favourite part was when we all said moist. That was good fun.
Oh,
and I've got some great feedback. And also, it was sort of strange because I was sort of delving deep into your life and being very intrusive, whereas most of the time people were very intrusive into my life. You know who you are.
People are a little bit too intrusive. I dare you to go to Alex and ask him like a really deep question.
Please do.
See him.
How is it though that certain words like moist have that ability to make your skin just crawl as soon as you hear it?
Oh,
moist sheath.
It's not the word, it's the way Alex makes eye contact when saying the word.
No.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a look into your soul that you're just like, it makes you...
It just kind of...
You want to curl up in a ball.
The eye contact and the fact that my belt is undone, I think is probably the thing that people find most upsetting.
Alex, my goodness. This is why we don't give you a microphone. You're being absolutely outrageous. So, welcome back. Alex, do you want to explain what's going on today? You've kind of owned this little one.
A little bit. But,
you're not presenting it. I'm still presenting it. Don't get...
Some say that this is a great use of our creative outlet. It's a great use of trying to get people together and talk about... I don't know. Talk about a particular subject, a particular creative subject. Some other people would say that we couldn't get anybody in for the book club video this week.
Someone, I mean, you know who you are if you're a listener, but you did let us down. But it's fine, we still love you. We can't slag them off too much because they might come back. But we had an idea.
Actually, we really want them back. Please come back. But yeah, we thought we'd come up, we thought we'd have a bit of fun. And it was kind of a suggestion that came out of
we joked around about
last month's podcast. And we... basically, we're going to do more of a film review, a film discussion.
I feel like we should have a theme tune for film review.
Okay, you want to rap some more?
Hang on. Da-nan.
Oh.
Da-nan. Da-nan.
It's the film review. Are you going to look at the films we do? We are going to not smell of poo. Oh, dear.
Oh, Ben's trying to get another hit.
That was so brilliant.
Do you want to talk about the rap? Because... I've seen a fair bit on social media about the rap.
When you say you've put stuff up on the social
media. I have not
media.
put one thing up.
Oh, okay. Oh, that wasn't your account.
I was begged for a live performance of it. Literally begged.
I'm expecting it in the Forge songbook. I'm just waiting for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy.
Just mid-set, just say, guys, thank you very much.
We're in discussions about recording.
And
let's talk about this guy that
rap
not many people know.
I think what really disappointed me about it was... it looked better written down than said out loud.
I think there was some great lyrical content in there.
I mean, rhyming patches with captures, I thought was basically godlike.
Have you ever seen that episode of Friends where Phoebe tries
I mean, whenever... yes. We all have.
Yeah.
I mean, the episode of Friends where Phoebe tries to come up with a Christmas song and then she tries to, rhyme
Hanukkah,
Dreidel with
Monica.
Rachel. Yeah, it was a little bit of that. Anyway, not the point.
So Joey, Christmas will be snowy.
Yeah. I watched that again the other day, and by that I mean my wife had it on and then she fell asleep. So I had to just put up with it. Anyway, not the
Your
point.
Your wife? Oh, let's talk about her again.
Yeah.
Flipping neck. So anyway, the idea is we're going to talk a little bit about film.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about films that we like, but we don't feel that other people like.
And this was kind of born out of the fact that I'm going to mention my wife again. Actually, she was on a night shift the other night, and so I started watching. I started watching a couple of films that have come out this year that I didn't get to go to watch, and I also knew that I couldn't really watch it with her because she wouldn't have been interested and she'd just been bored. So I watched. What was the first one? I watched
obviously
Jurassic
totally
Park. Yeah, no, very forgetful. Jurassic Park: Fallen Kingdom, which was very forgetful and not a good film. And then I watched Han Solo or Solo. A Star Wars story.
We can talk about that. Can I just give a bit of context? So, Alex, your job is behind a
I'm
camera.
a filmmaker,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, a filmmaker, film deliverer.
That sounds more impressive than it is.
Yeah.
I don't work on Hollywood films. I'm a promotional filmmaker.
No, but you met Gordon Ramsay once, didn't you?
I did, yeah, and I threw up in his downstairs loo. That's a long story.
Do we have time for that?
On purpose?
No,
Or-
what we'll do is at the end, if it comes up again, we'll put it at the end of the podcast, and it'll be a nice little story.
Steffan is, well, a film buff
I am.
nerd. You just love it, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I love it. I think it's like the best medium of telling stories, really.
I'm intimidated by your knowledge, which is actually
I
because
don't-
I'm such a film nerd.
Yeah.
It's such a weird high price. But yeah, you're incredible.
I think I need to just give a full disclosure. Like, probably every single film I'm going to talk about is just going to be like comic book related or science fiction related. So I have a reasonable knowledge of films, but then there's like massive like gaps in my like sort of, you know, like back catalogue of films that I've seen or haven't seen in this case. So like, you know, but anyway, I think this is a really great topic.
Yeah.
Because, and I especially like the twist that it's like we think other people might not like. Because often there
People
is that
generally
kind
don't.
of like perception that you really, really love something and then you bump into someone, they're like, yeah, I really just didn't get that film. And you're like, what? I don't understand. Like, it's just like
sours their
brilliant. What are you
enjoyment
talking
in
about?
some
You know?
way. Yeah, and this is the thing, like, I've branded myself as a filmmaker.
You've got a book and everything, haven't you?
I have got a book.
Really?
Yeah. No, it's not like a proper book. It's like a portfolio book.
Steffan, I've got some copies you can have, so do not worry.
Also, I have copies of Ben's album in my glove compartment if you want that as well.
I happily listen to both or read both.
Yeah, please take them off
You know,
our hands.
someone has to.
Your book is better than my album.
Yeah, but we make zero money. Anyway, there's going to be an assumption that because I'm a filmmaker that I'm going to be like this kind of alter kind of person who's going to be really into the pretentious side of filmmaking in some ways.
No,
I
think you've got
maximum
really low
entertainment.
standards.
Yeah, I've got super low standards, which will be discussed throughout the podcast. But I find for me it's just entertainment. Occasionally a film will capture me in a certain way and make me feel a certain way, but for the most part, yeah, I like to be entertained and like to.
Yeah, I would say I would
fun.
not say you're pretentious with film at all. And my background is that I really like Star Wars films.
Yeah.
But I'm not into the extended universe and all that. It's
You are
very
wearing
limited.
a stormtrooper right now.
Oh yes, I am.
You are.
Yeah, I love Star Wars, and I like films. Like much prefer films to books. I like my wife.
Hey.
She doesn't watch films, and if she does, she'll watch them once. She sees no merit in watching a film again. She finds them boring. She's like,
I see.
and
I
I'm
had that.
totally the opposite to that.
Yeah.
I love.
I have that thing where I sometimes put films on and don't even really watch them, but it's kind of like having like background music.
and I can watch
It's that-
I can watch Star Wars films.
Yeah.
Like, I'll watch them.
It's that
all
warm
the way.
comfort blanket of like,
Even the
I'm
ones
just
you don't
escaping
like.
to this
Yeah.
world, and
Yeah.
even if I'm not giving it my full attention, I'm there with it right now.
Do you think that's a deep psychological issue within us?
that we
I
secretly
always think we
just
should have a
longing to
therapist
get
in
back.
the podcast.
Yeah,
Like a
longing to
therapist
get
chat.
back to some world that is detached from our present reality, which we're so deeply unhappy
goodness.
with.
You're using
That's actually a really important point, but that's for a different podcast.
No,
where we
yeah, exactly.
Get all
Yeah.
depressed. This
Yeah.
podcast is about.
Yeah, so
Whatever films
let's
that
get,
we
let's
find
get
it-
into it.
we find-
Okay.
Who wants to kick off?
Do you want me to kick off? Because
I think Alex should kick
I
off.
think we spoke about it before. I watched Han Solo, the Han Solo movie,
Yeah.
Solo Star Wars story. The thing I took away from it, basically, when I came out of it, I was like, people, because I'm quite late to the game, people were like, this is not a good film.
Right, can we say a precursor?
What?
Is this spoiler free? This podcast?
No, this is not spoiler free. I
feel like you need to be completely open about that.
Yeah,
from
you need
the
to be.
off, right?
We're gonna. We'll give a bit of a gap almost if people want to skip ahead. But for the most part, yeah, this is not going to be spoiler free. We're just going to talk about films, and probably to be fair, a lot of these films have been out for a while, or
Yeah, I haven't been to the
these
cinema in ages.
exactly. So
Not made of money.
payday tomorrow. The Star Wars story. I came away from it. And I was like, it's quite high up on the list of Star Wars films for me. But you completely disagree. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, and I want to buy his jacket.
Me first or you?
You should react first.
Okay. Anyone that says that is not a good film is an idiot. Because the special effects, the character development, the story, it's all there. It's a good film. But when it slots into the Star Wars universe, it becomes a terrible film. This is why. And I am right.
Can I just say, it doesn't look at it right now. You can't see me. I'm not by any means on the edge of my seat, but metaphorically, I'm on the edge of my seat. The drama in this delivery that you're giving us is
I've never seen him look so fierce.
So, there's kind of two things to it.
Okay. Number
three.
one.
There's three.
Okay.
I'll make 3 points.
Number
the
one.
The first one is the most important.
Okay.
What do we love about Han Solo?
I like his jacket.
Oh, is that a rhetorical
That's rhetorical.
question? Okay, right.
Crap.
You're not meant to answer, Alex.
So, okay.
It's so annoying.
Well, let me ask you a slightly nerdier question. Ooh. Why is it important to you, Steffan,
Right.
that Han shot first?
Because he's a scoundrel.
He's a scoundrel. He doesn't have a preference for the good side, the bad side.
Yeah.
He's a womanizer. He's totally off the rails. No, don't, Alex. I know you want to interrupt, but let me make my point. That is the whole thing about Han Solo. And the story of Star Wars is he falls in love with Leia and he ends up fighting for the good side. He deserts and then comes back and fights for his friends. And that's the first time he's ever done that. And it's his story of how he goes from, complete menace, outlaw, not the Phantom Menace, that's someone totally different. But that is his redemption story in my eyes.
Yeah.
And then in Solo, it turns out he's always been a good guy and he's actually fallen in love with her who gets her norks out on Game of Thrones. And that's been his story the whole time. And it's like, well, no, I feel for me, that took so much away from his character from A New Hope, for me personally.
I think, was that your third or was that your
That
first?
was my first point.
Right, okay.
The other two are much shorter. So if I deliver, then you can come back to all of them.
No, I love this. I didn't want to interrupt your
That's cool.
your cascade of points.
I appreciate that.
Second and third, go for it.
Second, Emilia Clarke is awful in that film.
Is she a good actor? Because I've never seen Game of Thrones. I'm not a Game of Thrones guy.
She is unbearable to watch.
She was terrible in Terminator, and she's been terrible in pretty much every other film I've seen her in. So.
And third point is what was that Darth Maul thing all about?
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are my points.
Those are your points.
Feel free.
Okay.
Coming back to the Darth Maul point, my favourite thing is the bit where he lights up his lightsaber and does nothing with it because he has to prove that he's the guy from the original film from Phantom Menace. For the most part, I kind of disagree with you, but I think it's because it's this assumption that Han Solo has always been this person that we thought he was, but actually it's never been, apart from in various books that are now not canon, he's never been proved to be that bad of a guy. He's always, apart from the Han shot first thing, which he does in this film, he shoots someone mid-sentence.
Yeah, I feel like that was a statement, wasn't
it? But that's the thing. Apart from the Han shot first thing, he never does anything really that bad. He abandons the people, but then he comes back and saves the day. So he's a hero. And then in every other film, he cuts open a weird monster thing and puts Luke inside him to save his life. He does all these really nice things. That's
the story, is that he comes to be that person.
But why couldn't he have been that person in the past and then fallen into the wrong
That's what I'm saying.
gang?
Is that is the beauty of those films. So what I'm saying is, it works. The film works.
Yeah.
But put it in the Star Wars universe, and I feel like you lose so many elements from the other films, or it just makes it a bit.
It's that thing it's that thing where people sort of go, well, I didn't need an origin story for a character who I really liked and felt like I knew well enough from the films that we originally got. So what did this film add, if anything? And for many people, you're right, they probably did feel that actually it detracted from the character because, like you say, people associated him with being this kind of chaotic good character that was kind of, broadly speaking, leaning more towards the good, but kind of was able to play with both sides and was able to kind of be quite shady at times. With the Solo film, you think, well, what is actually being brought to the table here, if anything? And actually it's like, well, do we need everything explained all the time to us? Like, oh, this character from this film, well, they actually knew this person and they interacted in this way and so on and so forth. And it's like, on the one hand, I get it because it makes everything a lot smaller in that everybody knows everybody in this galaxy. But then at the same time, in introducing new characters and new worlds and things like that, it's also making it bigger as well.
Yeah.
I think what it loses is that mystery, which I think is what people liked about Solo, like Han Solo, is that he's a guy who's quite mysterious. We don't really know much about him, but he's just a guy who gets a job, gets into some bad trouble, and then kind of decides, actually, I kind of like these people and I'm going to stick around, And he's always just sticking around.
Yeah.
But I tell you one thing that didn't bother me is what I thought would bother me.
Chewbacca.
No, that's point number 4. I hated that introduction.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't see it coming. I thought it was quite funny.
I loved that. I thought it was brilliant.
It was so bad, and they're having this conversation.
Anyway, not the point. What were you going to say?
They're speaking Shriwook with each other.
Yeah, I found that so.
I thought it was really... I loved the shot of Chewie coming out of the cave and being this kind of monster from the Black Lagoon kind of thing, kind of swamp thing kind of character, for a comic book reference, and he's the way he sort of, it then is revealed that, actually
I preferred the mystery of that. I preferred the mystery. But one thing that didn't bother me as what I thought I wouldn't be able to get past was the Harrison Ford thing. I thought...
the fact that it's a different
because they are one, aren't they?
Yeah.
But
I think he did a really good job.
Yeah,
I think
I'll give him
He had
that.
a thankless task, but it was a really good job. And actually, he looked more like him than I thought he was going to. And he kind of acted in certain ways I thought he was going to.
The jacket makes it as well.
Yeah.
I love that. I really want to buy that jacket.
He got the micro impressions down, the little gestures, the smirks, the looks, the kind of the pitch of his voice occasionally, dropped into that register that we expect it to be,
But Donald Glover did a better job.
Donald Glover was amazing
Lando,
in that film,
unfortunately, which kind of overshadowed it a little bit. But he did
I thought he was great.
He did an amazing
My
job.
favourite
This is America.
He
He can move his body, that guy. This is America.
Oh, I wish we had visuals right now.
Talk about the political connotations of that video. Anyway, I think we need to move on because otherwise this podcast is going to be an hour.
But go around the room. Well, at the end of each film that we talk about, we can go around the room as a general consensus. Do we actually like it or do we not like it? So, Steffan, do you like Han Solo?
I actually really loved it because it was a lot of fun.
Loved it?
I did, because it was a lot of fun.
Goodness.
And I didn't necessarily need it, but I didn't hate it. I actually ended up loving it because it was just a lot of fun and it was a Western in space again, which I think...
You love a good Western,
I do.
don't you?
It's the same like I spoke about Logan. I just like that kind of thing. And, and also just it was just kind of light and kind of very, sort of easygoing, and it didn't require you to be totally in tune and focused on what's going on. And I thought it was good fun. I mean, it's not the best Star Wars film. I don't think it's the worst. I think it's
not the worst.
It's probably it ranks somewhere in the sort of the middle around for me, something like, I don't know, Rogue One.
Oh my goodness, are you joking?
Yeah, I think it's about
Rogue One is a Star Wars masterpiece.
Really? We can get into that to another point. But I enjoyed Rogue One.
I think Rogue One again. It was really. I think Rogue One.
Apart from the end.
You can't see a drop jaw. You can't see my jaw on.
No,
the floor.
that's the thing. That the Rogue One just for me tips Han Solo because of the importance it plays in the wider.
It's actually helpful to the story.
It actually explains things that you probably wanted explained.
Yeah, it's very dull up until the end.
Oh,
it's very dull.
I'm not going to continue on this point. Why don't we just talk about your wife again?
Does anybody remember that bit where he almost sniped someone, but he didn't actually snipe someone? No, because that's the point that no one remembers because it's a very dull film.
I know exactly.
It is sadly, it is a little bit of a dull film. The action sequences on Scarif are just mind-blowingly good, and it's just everything you want from that sort of era of Star Wars. But I felt the characters.
Do you know what?
I felt the characters in Solo were more. I enjoyed the characters more.
Are you joking?
I thought they were more interesting than
you enjoyed Emilia Clarke's performance in that film.
No, I'm not saying I enjoyed Emilia Clarke. I enjoyed some of the characters from Solo's performances, and I thought their stories were a bit more interesting than, say, Rogue One, which really we didn't get enough about people like Chirrut or Baze. just
No,
pulling
I can't
out
remember.
the Star Wars expanding
exactly.
universe knowledge there.
Nice.
You know,
which
I
I
mean,
don't have.
there was some really cool stuff with Chirrut, like the blind kind of Jedi priest. Although he's not a Jedi, he's actually a guardian of the Wills, which is sort of this text all about the Force. And you know, the temple on Jeddah, you know, which was being mined of the Kyber crystals to help power the Death Star. So like all that, I loved the stuff on Jeddah.
Yeah.
And I loved like moments and places of it, but I thought actually the characters they weren't what I was watching it for. You know, I mean, put it this way, Darth Vader was more interesting in the last 5 minutes of that film than many of the characters in that film as a whole.
Actually like. Anyway,
yeah, let's move on.
Do you know what? Before we started the podcast,
he's starting to cry.
Before we started the podcast, Alex was like, "Ben, like if like me and Steffan get a bit into it, can you just like pull us together and just, you know, make sure that it's all kind of calm and you chip in and kind of direct it the way it couldn't be more the opposite." So I'm absolutely fuming that you don't rate Rogue One in that capacity.
I think it's in the middle. I think it's in the middle, but it is dull. Like, and the only reason it's in the middle is because
it's not dull.
Episode 1, 2, 3 are terrible. Like, really terrible. So you kind of look at Rogue One and you think, if it's boring, it's still better than the prequels.
The third Star Wars film is better than Solo.
No.
Revenge of the Sith. I'm
annoyed. Steffan, what would you like to bring to the party?
I'm just gonna bring some comic book flavour in.
Some what?
Comic book flavour.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay.
I was like, I've not heard of that film.
No, I heard of that film.
What is your flavour? Tell me what's your flavour.
So I want to talk about Man of Steel, because this is a film that really divides people. And Superman, Superman is one of my favourite superhero characters of all time. He went from being somebody I didn't actually like very much when I was a lot younger to then being, you know, over the past 5 to 6 years, like now actually being kind of definitely above the other characters for me, because of like just his kind of arc as a character and the story, and of course, like also the religious like kind of symbolism behind it as well.
Is it a bit like that? Is it?
There's always a little bit of Jesus metaphor. There's a lot of Jesus metaphor.
And there is actually a
sequence
in Man of Steel where he does the Jesus Christ pose where he's about to then turn and fly back down to Earth to save Lois.
Oh wow!
And then you've got Russell Crowe. He's playing his father, Jor-El, and he says like,
he doesn't sing, does he?
Yeah, no, he doesn't. No, thankfully. Although I think he got a hard time in that film. I think he did. But anyway, he goes like, "Cal, you can save them. You can save them all." And it's just like goosebumps. And he just like goes supersonic and just flies down to Earth, and it's just so awesome.
I'm gonna have to watch this.
Yeah,
you should
seriously.
watch it. It's one of those films where I will warn you though, it kind of falls off in the third act.
It does.
So the first like 2 acts are very much about this hero methodology, and I hit the microphone. This hero methodology, this kind of this feeling of is it right to be the hero that everybody needs, but then again put other people in danger, and you know, for it to be this really hard life of being a hero, but actually you're doing it for the better, you know.
Well, the thing I like about, you know, the film is that it tries to and this is where people divide with me on this, and I can totally understand why, because I do think the film is pretty joyless at times, which doesn't sound good. Saying
so it's
that
not
about a film
you're not in
like.
it for a good time with
but it's so depressing.
It's quite.
There's one joke in it, and it's not that funny.
Yeah, it's not. But it's like.
I used to have a job crushing cans. It was so depressing.
We're such nerds.
Yeah. But the film, like, it's quite an interesting take on the character, because it tries to imagine what it would really be like if a Superman character, you know, turned up.
Oh, it's realistic.
Well, it tried. Yeah,
that's what one beat.
Yeah. Well, again, and like, I'm not doing a great job of selling it, but genuinely, I quite like when directors and filmmakers and you know and script writers try and be bold with a character that is already so well established, you know.
Yeah, because I've seen the one where Superman goes. It's like the traditional one, and he flies back around the world.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
to wind it back and save someone from an earthquake.
Third one, I think.
To be fair,
that's a Superman memory.
Superman 1. That is Superman 1.
Oh, that's Superman 1.
But
I was getting.
But yeah, Superman the movie
in
the 70s. The problem with that film is like, in the 70s, he was just way overpowered anyway, because in the comic books, they kept on running out of ways for him to get out of given situations.
He's got like one weakness, right?
No, but he used to develop loads of other powers. At one point, he could. I think in Superman 4, he rebuilds the Great Wall of China with his eyes, which is really weird. Watch that, and there's a comic book where
seriously,
seriously. There's a comic book back in, I think, in the 60s where he can shoot a miniature version of himself out of his hand.
Yeah, there's loads of weird.
So in the 70s, he got way too overpowered.
That.
So that time travel thing is very much a kind of reaction to that. Whereas Man of Steel is very much, let's try and make it a little bit more grounded. But as I said, because of the way that it's done, you've got these two first acts where it's very kind of, in some ways, inspirational and very kind of, it can be divisive in terms of how Superman should feel. That's
the thing,
but in the last bit, he just smashes down buildings. That's all he does.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
There's a lot in there actually, which I think...
I have seen this film.
Yeah,
I've seen this film. Yeah, because I remember thinking, because he meets someone quite equally matched.
Yeah, Zod.
Zod, and it's like, come on.
Basically, if you're going to watch it as though it's like a science fiction film, and it's not necessarily like a comic book film.
Yeah.
And then like there are like fragments of it where you think, oh, that's great, and that's really classic Superman. And then there's other bits where they've taken a different path with him and tried to do something, at times very bold. The boldest move being actually having him kill someone at the end.
Yeah, breaks the neck.
And that's what people like. I remember being in a cinema and like somebody, like an older guy, like maybe about 15, 20 years older than me, like getting up and saying, "That's not my Superman," and just like, yeah,
really,
like actually genuinely being angry about
amazing.
it. And I just thought, like, yeah, fair enough, because like if you grew up with Christopher Reeve and like and those films,
Christopher Reeve,
like,
that's his name.
and that's so like bright and colourful and joyful, and that's arguably what Superman should be. And I think I hope one day will be again, but I still like the film for what it tried to do, in that it tried to do a well-known character in a slightly different way, and try and lean into the science fiction-y alien tropes that the character does have. He is an alien. He comes from a different planet, and so that first opening 15 minutes of that film on Krypton is just so cool, I think. So anyway, that's the film that
if you've zoned out by now, I'll try and bring it back with something. But I will say, Steffan, you do have a bit of a Clark Kent about you.
I don't know. Why is that, do you think?
I think it's the glasses. I think it's the hairstyle.
Oh, I thought you were going to comment on my
torso.
I ripped musculature.
No, you've gone extra with the
it's just because I'm wearing glasses. Okay.
No, I do think you've got a bit of Clark Kent about you.
Okay.
I don't think I like any films that nobody else likes.
I was about to say we're about to come to you.
I like your films, does that count? I like films that a lot of people don't even know about, but I think are classics.
Give us one.
So I'll say, like, to Kat, like, let's sit down, my wife, who I like to talk about, I'll say, come sit down, let's watch this classic that's on the telly, and I will say, like, Christmas time, Father of the Bride.
Oh, okay. No, I've never seen Father of the Bride. But... 1
and 2. Ooh. Grab me the tissues. The Princess
Bride.
Princess Bride, which is a classic.
Great film.
I sometimes call that Princess Diaries, which is a different film.
That is also a great film. I like Princess Diaries.
But so you guys know these films? Because I reference them often.
I know some. Yeah, some,
I know.
Yeah.
I haven't. Again, I haven't seen Princess Bride, but I haven't really seen the other ones you mentioned either. So,
mate, honestly, Bride, these are all, just family classics. But I won't really put their point across because they hold too much of a. But I will say, Christmas film.
Yeah.
Ultimate Christmas film, I think.
Oh, don't say it.
Is clear cut for me.
Okay.
What are you gonna say? What do you think I'm gonna say?
I think you're gonna say Die Hard, which is not a Christmas film. But
I think I was gonna say Home Alone 2.
No,
or just
I love Home Alone 2. It's a great film. Are you gonna say the film I was gonna say?
What?
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way.
Oh, that film is amazing. That is my go-to Christmas film.
Go-to Christmas film. Okay, imagine it's in the 90s. Mm-hmm. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger and the kid who played Anakin in Phantom Menace. I don't know his name. The kid wants a Turbo Man, which is like a fictional.
I have seen
hero.
this. I have seen this.
Who
Arnie
the
is
action
the hero.
figure show, and it's really hard.
They go around the shops.
Yeah, and it's basically one parent's journey in trying to make his kid the happiest kid in the world on Christmas, and the pain that he has to go through to get it. And it's the dumbest. He punches a reindeer at one point. It's the dumbest film in the world, but it's probably the best Christmas film because it encapsulates modern Christmas.
No. Yeah,
100%.
And it also teaches us that materialism won't make us happy. It's actually the people in our lives that matters most.
The best Christmas film.
Whereas Home Alone teaches you that murder is pretty much fine as long as someone's breaking into your house.
I think that's biblical. Yeah, I just see like the messianic themes coming through.
Yeah.
With Macaulay Culkin. What's his name?
Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, and the Wet Bandits.
Yeah, I just see him as a Christ-like figure, really. No, the best Christmas film.
Explain, elaborate.
The greatest Christmas film is It's a Wonderful Life.
It's wonderful.
I every year I say I'm going to watch that, and I never
Alex,
have.
how can you even nearly describe yourself as a filmmaker and have not watched that film?
Films I haven't seen that everybody says I should see. The Godfather, all three of them, haven't seen them.
You haven't seen The Godfather?
No, I haven't seen them.
It's
a Wonderful Life, Casablanca.
Yeah, these
classics. I don't think I've watched Chitty Chitty Bang Bang all the way through. I don't think I have.
I remember watching it.
Yeah,
partly, maybe all the way through, but pretty. I don't know.
What was the other one as well? Fred Claus. I haven't seen that. No, I'm joking.
No. Anyway, I won't fight for It's a Wonderful Life, but I will end the podcast there because I will go outside and fight you. Because that is an atrocious list that you haven't watched. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. It's been a bit off the cuff, but
bit of ramblings.
Yeah, we'll go back to a book maybe, or maybe we'll actually all watch a film and review it and do it like a film review.
Be a good idea.
I think that would be awesome. Yeah, that would be definitely a good idea to do.
Drop us a tweet, Steffan. We know where to find you if we need you. And Alex, you are
at Alex Laver on everything. And in regards to another podcast about films, if people want to talk about that, if people want to have another one about films that other people like and other people don't like or whatever,
we'll try and do something really generic that like is on Netflix so you can watch it.
You can even do a video commentary as well. You can just put a film on, watch a film together, and comment on it as it goes.
The Eden podcast cut.
Yeah. We'll watch Rogue One together and we'll just have a punch up. It'll be great fun.
Log into the website. Log in. You can't log into our website.
Log into our intranet.
But it's edengathering.co.uk. We'll see you at the gatherings. We'll see you on the podcast, and we will see you next week. I'll hear you. You'll hear me next week with another one. But if I don't see you for a week, I'll see you through a window. Goodbye. Play the music.